having a conversation, been having a conversation within spirit, or with spirit, if you will, and that conversation is very, very powerful to me. The thing that I had developed a few years ago was what I call the 8 A's of Ascension into the arms of the Almighty, and then later spoke about it as the 8 A's of transformation. That particular idea had in mind that an individual would really go through a process in order to, first of all, to be awakened really to the God self within the individual. And then each round, as we say, or as I say now, each revolve is an evolve, which really means that when you go deeper, you go higher, and each level you get more and more of what it means to have God inside. God is planted inside of us from the very beginning. God has never left us, never forsaken us. The aspect is that the force of God is supposed to us to believe, supposed to be used, supposed to be near than our hands and feet. And so this idea that God is in us, God is in us, not because we are so-called born again. The born again part of that has to be, it absolutely has to be, the awakening to the realization that God has never left us. We are like the child, as the Bible calls it, the prodigal son, if you will, the child that was so deficient in his spending of everything that he had. He paid no attention to the one who actually provided him with all that he had. And it was only when he had run out of a realization of who he was that he came to himself. And that's what takes place with us when we run out of, because we think that we have broken the connection with the Father, that we really come to ourselves. And so that's what is called the awakening. And someone has said that God can use either vision, which is a pulling forward. We're pulled forward by a vision that we have of what the future may be, or we can be pushed. We can either be pulled or we can be pushed into the future. And push means that we are trying to run away from something. We're trying to get away from our pain, our problems, or whatever it may be. And so that's what we talk about. So the 8 A's was a way so that the individual can look at that. The first A was a matter of awareness. First A was a matter of awareness. And so when we are working with this aspect of I will restore, what we're really talking about is this aspiration of the restoration of the awareness that we are children of the divine, and that God is planted within us, and that we have promised ourselves, our individual selves, that the I that is within us, will restore ourselves to our divine inheritance, if you will. And for an individual to actually understand that there's much more that one must do than just simply listen to, so to speak, a podcast. There's work to be involved. One person reminded me, one of my coaches reminded me that a famous individual, if you understand what famous means, is that a lot of people have heard you say something or do something or are aware of it. But an individual named Jim Rohn, a teacher of a few days ago, that individual said that there is a path that connects a person between a beginning and an end, between the vision of something, the initial vision of something, or the awareness of something, and the accomplishment of it. And that bridge over that particular space is called discipline. It is called discipline. And many individuals can start a lot of things. They can start a lot of things, but they need discipline. And discipline has to do with the habits that you have on a day-by-day basis, if not a hour-by-hour basis or moment-by-moment basis. And disciplines are, first of all, attitudes of mind that an individual has. And that's what we do with the people that email us at info@iwillrestore, and we begin to talk with them about the aspect of having disciplines, having a process by which they go through the 8 A's so that they can understand and they can apply and they can appreciate what these A's mean. And so that's what we're working with in regard to this aspect of I Will Restore and the podcast that we do and the various teachings that we do. We help individuals to actually go through a process of growth and learning so that they might be able to accomplish their particular goals and achieve their particular objectives in life, no matter how great they may seem at this particular moment in time. And so that's the purpose of I Will Restore as a podcast. And we're working with individuals. I mean, it's just a marvelous thing to see the transformation in an individual that after that person has dealt with sometimes traumatic events, things that have occurred in life. And they are able to actually work with those traumatic events. And as a result of that, looking at it and beginning to move from the standpoint of being a victim, because there's a way that you can look at life and say, life has happened to me. And this is what took place. This is what they did to me. This is what the society is doing to me. And all of that. There's a way that you can look at that. But you can give meaning to what has happened in your life, and you can say that I came prepared to handle all that may come at me. And I'm greater than anything. And the Bible has this particular text where it says, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. No weapon formed. Well, this is the same idea. It's just going back and seeing that one is not a robot. One is not pre-programmed, if you will, to have it so that everything defeats the individual. If you're pre-programmed for anything, it is that you're pre-programmed to reveal the God that is in you. You're already pre-programmed to be victorious in life. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world, if you put it in those terms. That's what you're pre-programmed. The text says, I would that you would prosper and be in health. That's what you're pre-programmed. And it is the realization of this, the goodness of God that's determined toward you. It is the realization of this. It is not this whole idea that I was born in sin and shapen in iniquity and all of those kinds of things. Whatever that may have meant, there is nothing to compare with the aspect that ye are gods and all of you are sons of the Most High. And so we move individuals to the aspect of identifying themselves as children of the divine. Not because of something that they did. It is a matter of being. It is a matter of being. That's who you are. And so that's what we're working with in regard to that. Now, I hope you can understand that and process that. Again, we take you deeper. We give you material because just saying it, just hearing it even, is not enough for most individuals to actually be it. They go through a process because the mind has little tricks. You begin to say, well, I am, and blank, blank, blank. But then a lot of individuals have to go through the process in order to really believe that. They've got to do all kinds of different things, whether they call them medicines or drugs or whether they're legal or illegal or whatever it may be. They go through all kinds of things. They got to have other individuals they either beat up or get high or whatever it may be and have those people to call them what they say that they are. And there are all kinds of consequences for that kind of thing as well. But what we're talking about here is that you, within yourself, being able really to arrive at the point that you understand who you are, whether there's someone with you or not, whether there's someone beside you or not, and that you know that you are the child of God, that you are an infinite being, that you know that you are an eternal being, and that if there's anything that you want to call heaven, then yes, there's heaven on earth. It's a matter of heavenly thinking. It's a matter of heavenly being. It's a matter of heavenly knowing. That's what we're talking about, heaven on earth. And that's a way that you set your mind. So there's awareness that comes into what you bring into your mind. There's awareness, knowing that you have a choice as to how you will process the material. There is awareness of understanding that you get to choose your emotions. There's awareness as to your state of mind. There's awareness as to what you might do. And then there is acceptance that is followed. And we talk to individuals about the whole aspect, because once you say it, you got to become convicted. You got to become convinced and convicted and committed to the aspect that what you've said, it is actually the truth and not it's something that's merely true. It's not just merely true, because something that's true today is not necessarily true tomorrow. Those are what facts are. Something that's true today is not necessarily true tomorrow. But something that's truth is something that's true today is true tomorrow, is true the next day. It was true 10 years ago. It'll be true 100 years from now. It is truth, capital Truth. And that's the matter of acceptance. That is the second step in the 8 A's. And then the third step is assurance. You know, deep down, as they would say, within the inside of the bones of your body, that you know that it is indeed the truth. It is the truth. Because again, the mind will play all kinds of tricks on you, and all around you are things that you will try to just drag you back to the same situation and the same thought patterns that you had. All of those things are involved. And so that's why I tell people I used to not have paper, as I call it. It's just things that are written. But now I have paper after paper after paper after paper after paper. Whether they're research papers or whether they're material that has been written in many different fields, whatever it may be, there are individuals who have written about it in the past, whether it's the ancient past or the contemporary past or whatever it may be. They're individuals who have lived it. There's a famous statement it was said about Martin Luther. He was the individual that I think it was 1517 or something like that, nailed the 15 Theses, I believe it was, on the Wittenberg door in Germany, and brought about what was called the Protestant Reformation. And he nailed those on the door. And an individual actually asked, said of Luther, said, "Do you think you're the only one that is right? Do you think you're the only one who is right?" And that can be something that really, really shakes an individual, because you go through a process where you read the Bible, you read it in the different languages and all of those kinds of things. You read the Bible, study the Bible, and you come to a conviction about something. Or you live in a particular way and you come to a conviction about something. But then someone comes and says, basically, do you really believe that? Who do you think you are, as they used to say, and all this other kind of stuff. People will send you through all kinds of change. And this is what happened to Martin Luther. And Martin Luther began to study the ancient writers of the past. And what he did was that he found out that the ancient writers of the past, from Paul and others all the way down to his day, actually believed in what he called justification by faith. He found the writings of these individuals. And he says, nope, it's not just what I believe. It's not just what I teach. There is a history of this. In the legal profession, they would call it case law. There's a history of this. There's past performance of this. There are others who have believed. I'm not standing here by myself. I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. People who have gone ahead of me. And that's where assurance comes in. That you begin to understand that you are not alone. You are not alone. That you are surrounded, as the text says, by a cloud of witnesses. You're not alone. So all of those things come into play as to what we're talking about here. It is a marvelous experience, really, because we want to help individuals to move to another level. We've helped individuals in the past who came again and dealt with their particular issues and then opened their own barbershops and realtor brokerages and all of those kinds of things. They're moving toward them. They're working with those, all kinds of things that individuals are doing. Move what they were doing to another level. It's a very powerful experience to discover that God is within you, that you're living the life as your authentic self. It's a very powerful experience. It is something that lifts you above the current situation in life and moves you so that you can see that you are called to live out the vision. And so we've talked about awareness, we've talked about acceptance, we talked about assurance. We'll speak with you a bit more about this a little later. Take care. Bye-bye.